Ever wake up in a hotel room, look at the perfectly beige walls, and completely forget what country you're in?
Oh yeah, it's the ultimate travel paradox. You fly like 5,000 miles just to sleep inside a sterile replica of the exact same corporate tower you have back home.
Right. Well, welcome to the deep dive. Today we are unpacking a massive shift in how people travel. We're looking at the resurgence of the Retro Inn, basically figuring out why travelers are suddenly craving creaky floors and tiny alleys over luxury suites.
Yeah, and what the sources really highlight is a deliberate rejection of that predictable copy-paste vacation. People aren't just looking for a bed anymore. They're driving a real resurgence here.
And for those listening, a resurgence is just when something old becomes popular again, right?
Exactly. They are actively bringing these forgotten mid-century family guest houses back to life.
And changing that physical space, it fundamentally rewires your brain for the trip. Think about the physical friction of it. Handing over a heavy antique brass key at a front desk takes an actual conversation.
Right. Antique just means something super old and valuable, usually over 100 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Swiping a plastic key card doesn't require any of that. That physical weight instantly shifts you from feeling like a transient consumer to feeling like a temporary resident.
The physical friction is exactly the point. It triggers nostalgia.
That warm, fuzzy feeling of happy past memories.
You got it. Even if you didn't grow up in that specific culture, surrounding yourself with a retro aesthetic.
The vintage tiles and all that.
Yeah, the tiles, the mid-century furniture. And retro just means cool things from the past that are back in style. It tricks your brain into feeling a sense of anchored comfort. You aren't in an anonymous box. You're in a lived-in space.
But the architecture actually forces you out of that lived-in space pretty quickly. I noticed in our notes that these guests are routinely waking up at 6 a.m.
Yeah, they are.
I have to push back here, though. If I am paying for a vacation, my alarm is off. Why are people intentionally exhausting themselves?
Well, it's because of the spatial limitations. These small inns, they don't have commercial kitchens or massive breakfast buffets. You are quite literally forced out into the neighborhood to find coffee.
Oh, wow.
And that accidental friction drops you right into the middle of a traditional market. Sometimes called a wet market or farmer's market, just as the neighborhood wakes up.
So you're trading the predictable eggs and bacon buffet for total sensory overload.
Completely.
You're out on the sidewalk, sitting on a tiny plastic stool, surrounded by this incredibly lively atmosphere, just bursting with movement and happy noise, scooters buzzing by, people bartering.
And you're interacting directly with the street vendors, the people selling from the small stalls.
Right.
The person handing you your breakfast isn't a corporate employee. They likely own that stall.
Yeah.
When you buy a local delicacy, say a scallion pancake that's been perfected over 3 generations, you are consuming a piece of the neighborhood's identity.
A local delicacy just being like a special or rare food from that specific area?
Yes, exactly.
This is where it clicks for me. It's almost like an economic immune system for the city. By bypassing the mega resorts and handing your cash directly to that innkeeper or that street vendor cooking pancakes, you're financially insulating the neighborhood.
Right, you're making it profitable for them not to sell out to developers.
That makes a lot of sense.
That is the core mechanism of this entire trend. You are funding the preservation of local heritage. And heritage isn't just a museum exhibit behind glass.
It's the history and traditions passed down to us.
Exactly, the living, breathing traditions and architecture of a place. By actively choosing to preserve these spots, to protect them and keep them safe, travelers help maintain these spaces in their authentic state.
You're keeping the neighborhood's warmth alive. And by warmth, we obviously don't mean the thermostat.
No, definitely not.
We mean that friendly, loving feeling of a community. That invisible web of relationships that makes a city actually feel human.
Exactly. You are voting with your wallet to ensure the neighborhood doesn't hollow out into a soulless tourist trap. You become an active participant in the city's survival rather than just a spectator.
So choosing that creaky bed and the early morning wake up is actually the ultimate travel hack for experiencing the real pulse of a destination.
It really is.
Which leaves you with this thought to mull over. If a traveler visited your hometown tomorrow and completely bypassed all the corporate hotels, what is the one piece of local heritage or a traditional delicacy they absolutely must experience to truly feel the warmth of your city?